Hey guys, my name is Massimio, and today's challenge is going to be fairly different compared to past ones. One recommendation that I've heard for years now, even all the way back in Battlefield 3, is to join a round but be a pacifist. So never shoot my weapon, never throw a grenade at my enemy, never do any damage, but somehow reach the top of the scoreboard by being the best goddamn supportive class in the game. And so the way that I could go about it was doing anything that revolved around supporting my teammates, throwing down ammo, throwing down health bags, reviving, spotting for my teammates, and then somehow just accumulating all of these points and reaching the top of the scoreboard. Admittedly, I have attempted this challenge in the past, all the way back in Battlefield 3, failed miserably. A couple of months ago in Battlefield 4, once again the same outcome, because for the life of me, I could never figure out a way to compete with someone who gets 50 kills by the end of the round. Like, no amount of ammo boxes or no amount of health packs is going to allow me to accumulate that amount of points to compete with someone who has that crazy kill-death ratio. And so honestly, after numerous attempts, I was just gonna chalk this up to a challenge that was impossible. Like, there was no way that I was gonna be able to do this, and just kind of let it fall by the wayside and go on to another challenge. Then I remembered, I don't know why it took me this long, I feel like a complete idiot, Operation Metro and Operation Locker. These are essentially a gold mine for getting just an absurd amount of points by doing pretty much nothing. Really what it boiled down to, and the way I was able to complete this challenge, was I found a stairwell where I realized a bunch of teammates were peeking around the corner constantly, and I just sat a few feet away from the corner just to make sure I wasn't gonna get shot at, and then waited for my teammates to eventually peek out, die half a second later, and then revive them instantly. It was glorious. I was getting an incredible amount of points, and it eventually, spoiler alert, eventually allowed me to reach the top of the scoreboard by the end of the round. Granted, it did take a very, very long time. I think I sat there for a good, I want to say 30 minutes. The rounds were taking forever, but by the end of it, I think my favorite stat was that I had 189 revives, and I had more than half of our revives for the entire team. One thing that was a pleasant surprise, though, was the medical field upgrade path. I was not aware, and I'm sort of ashamed to admit this, I did not know that that third unlock for this tree allows you to charge up your paddles almost instantaneously and get the full revive off, the 100% revive off on your teammates. It is really powerful, and after playing with it, I came to the conclusion that if you're running with the full squad, a bunch of buddies, you're over voice comms, this would be an amazing substitute over something like the offensive or the defensive field upgrade, which pretty much 90% of the community uses at this time. For a pub game where you're running around with a bunch of randoms, maybe not the best pick, because you do need to get to the third slot, you need to get to the third ranking, and honestly, if you're not playing on something like Operation Metro or Locker, where it's just a meat grinder and you're constantly giving out health and reviving your teammates, it's going to be quite challenging to reach that field upgrade. But if you're running with a bunch of friends and you're constantly using teamwork, it is a very powerful tool in your arsenal. Like, being able to get someone up basically immediately after they died and 100% health is pretty much what it was back in Battlefield 3, and back in Battlefield 3, it was an amazing feature. Like, that was one of the main reasons why the medic class was as powerful as it was. And so if you're running with some friends, I highly recommend that you give this a try. I'm sure many of you are probably shaking your head right now thinking that this is the most obvious advice in the history of Battlefield, but admittedly, and embarrassingly so, I did not know about this amazing field upgrade path, and so if you were as oblivious as I was, I recommend that you give it a try. One thing that became very obvious really quickly is that the health bags are almost useless on Metro. If you're not aware, I'm sure many of you are by now, if you are suppressed, you will not receive the benefits, the health benefits, from the health packs. You need to be out of combat for 5 seconds before you start to regenerate your health, and as soon as you get shot at, once again, as soon as you get suppressed, one stray bullet flies by your face, you no longer have the benefit, and once again, you have to be out of combat for 5 seconds. DICE's reason behind this is that they wanted to nerf the power of the Assault class overall. They felt like, in general, the Assault kit was just a little bit better than all of the others, and so by making the health bag not as good as it was in the past, they thought that that would elevate elevate the power of all of the other kits and put it more in line. And for the most part, it has accomplished that. Like, clearly the health bag is nowhere near as good as it was in the past, but they've also admitted that they pushed things too far. And so if you are someone who hasn't been too thrilled by this change, DICE in the near future is going to be making some tweaks to it by reducing how long you need to be out of combat before you receive the benefits. One thing is for sure, though, is that this gadget, while I wouldn't necessarily say it is useless on Metro, it is nowhere near as powerful as it was in the past. When I first jumped in, I placed this, of course, down where all of my teammates were congregated. I assumed that, of course, well, that would be the best way to regenerate the health of my teammates and get a boatload of points. And a few months ago, that was exactly what you would do on Metro. Like, I'm assuming that is one of the main reasons why people played on this map, because it was a gold mine to get easy points. Place this down next to the 500 teammates that are there. Of course, they're going to be taking some shots every once in a while and just rake in the points. But now with this new mechanic, that doesn't work ever. Like, if you are on the front lines, you are almost 100% guaranteed to be in combat constantly. And so I quickly learned that placing down a health bag near the front lines was pointless. I started just placing them down a few meters back from the front lines so that if anyone did want to take the time to regenerate their health, it would be right there, and then I would finally start to get the heal points. And so what it really came down to, and honestly the only way I was able to complete this challenge, was reviving my teammates constantly. I did have a few tricks up my sleeve where I tried to pick up a support player's kit really quickly, drop down ammo, then pick up my kit once again and continue on with my reviving spree. But I noticed that every so often, I would never be able to pick up my kit once again. I was like, oh, okay, now I just have a light machine gun and an ammo box. This really isn't helping me out. And so pretty much at the end of the day, it came down to reviving my teammates 189 times, I think 4 more than my entire team combined, and that was enough to bring me to the top of the scoreboard and finally complete these challenges. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this challenge. I realize it's very different from the ones I did in the past. I mean, pretty much all of the others revolve around killing people, so I hope you enjoyed. If you have a recommendation or a setup that you would like me to try next, let me know down below in the comment section. This is a series that is based off of your recommendations, and so if there is a gadget that you would like me to use exclusively or a weapon with a terrible combination of attachments, let me know down below. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.